Today we're going to talk about how much art matters in game development, coming up. Hello everybody, it's Travis Vroman. For those of you who are new here, I upload daily videos with tips, tricks, and industry advice for game developers. So if this sounds like something that would interest you, consider subscribing. Today I want to talk about how much art matters in game development, or in games in general. The quick answer to this is a lot. It's one of the single most important things in game development, as a matter of fact. The reason for that is it's the end user's first impression of the game. I can't say the amount of times that I have been looking at a catalog of games and just sort of kept scrolling past because the graphics didn't look polished. The graphics didn't look like somebody had taken a lot of time or care on them. And in some cases, they even look like programmer art, right? Especially, there's a lot of Steam games out there that have that. And even some of my own past stuff that I've put out there was that way. And I realized that mistake way later on down the road, but everybody has done it at some point. Your first impression of a game is the only impression you typically get. And so it needs to be a good one. Even if your game is 2D, that doesn't necessarily mean that it can have crappy graphics. I've seen a lot of games that are far more gorgeous than most 3D games out there. A lot of times those don't even have a realistic style. They might have a cartoony style or maybe a watercolor painting style or something like that. Child of Light is a fantastic example of this. So that's a 2D game that has some emulated 3D type features in it just by using parallax backgrounds and overlapping layers and things like that all moves at different speeds. But that game is absolutely gorgeous. It looks polished. It's got a clean UI. Even stills of that game look phenomenal. It's not a 3D game out there that has super high-end graphics that most people's PCs can barely run, but it's still put together in such a beautiful and cohesive style that it's a really attractive game to me. That sort of illustrates the point that I'm trying to make, is that graphics are one of the single most important things in game development. The art quality is super important, and one thing that also tends to get overlooked is UI, and I'm actually going to make several other videos about UI specifically, but that tends to be a subject that is completely overlooked. Having a cohesive art style that is super polished throughout the course of a game is one of the most important things that you can have in a game because it suspends disbelief. Even if it seems like it's super cartoony or watercolory or something that's not hyper realistic, having artwork that is beautiful to look at helps immerse the user in the game and suspend disbelief. It helps the user interact in such a way where it feels like what they're actually doing could be possible, and it takes them to the realm that you're trying to construct. If these things aren't polished, a lot of those imperfections tend to stand out and break that. A common example I see of this is when I'll be playing a game and there'll be, say, 3 sides of an object that looks really good, but then if you look at maybe the back side of that object or one of the other sides of that object, and you'll see that the texture mapping is completely off and maybe it's just smeared across the surface. And then it's like, it snaps you out of it and you're like, whoa, okay. And then it completely brings you right back to the fact that you're playing a game. Versus a game that has taken a lot of time to polish and make sure that those types of issues don't arise, it keeps you immersed in the game and keeps you wanting to play more. So that's about it on this today. I want to keep this brief, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave me some feedback in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think as far as the importance of art in games, and some of the games that you found beautiful and some of the games that maybe you found that they should have polished a little bit more on the art side before they released it. I'd love to hear some of these examples from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys tomorrow.